when they signed Caitlin Clark to an 8-year, $28 million endorsement deal. Nike struck gold. So, why in the world are they ignoring her? They have committed the worst error of their lives, and her actions have put them in jeopardy. Caitlin really wants to play basketball as much as she can. She is also engaged in this political accord, engrossed in this racial debate, and communicating with Nike, the firm that awarded her a low-cost contract. Wilson declined to make a single Caitlin Clark advertising and will not release a Caitlin Clark sneaker since Nike has decided to quit up, assuring her that they will wait to promote her until after they have completed promoting Asia since 2021. Nike's worth has decreased by more than $100 billion. Due to the grave conditions, their CEO was forced to depart, and many people urged that he be dismissed. Are sports getting less popular? What is the present situation of Nike's business, and how does it relate to Caitlin Clark? It was announced at the start of this year's WNBA season that Caitlin Clark had inked a $28 million endorsement agreement. The deal lasted for 8 years and included a signature sneaker, which wasn't particularly outstanding, but was a fair price for a generational snack, given that they might have just signed one of the major players of the next 20 years. Although nothing significant occurred at the moment, everyone else thinks Nike has tea. Since she signed this contract, Nike hasn't done anything to promote her. We have not seen any adverts. No Caitlin Clark merchandise has been spotted, and we haven't seen any of her signature footwear, but there have been some encouraging developments. One of the few generational talents that can produce, LeBron James has signed billions of dollars, and Nike has just given up a lot right now, you guys. Her WNBA season has come and gone. When Caitlin Clark went viral in college, she had already signed a non-binding contract with Nike, making her the most well-known collegiate player in the nation. She was twice as popular as Angel Reese, who finished second, and 4 times more popular than the most popular male player, Caitlin Rose. Several shoe manufacturers courted her after she became a professional, and she would promote the Curry brand as the face of Under Armour Adidas. Nike has no plan of making a sneaker for her, so why not? There hasn't been an update on her signature sneaker yet, and this one is insane. Everyone was hoping for one. The most surprising part of this is that, as you may remember, Caitlin Clark was featured in Nike commercials when she was an Iowa basketball player and smashed state records for both men and women. Nike then constructed a huge billboard with the words, "You own it if you break it." This has now occurred in Iowa as well. However, they have since released new materials and advertisements after taking home yet another MVP award. According to this 2-year schedule, Clark's sneaker might be available in stores in 2026 or 2027. But Asa Wilson shared an incredible truth regarding Caitlin Wilson, whose sneaker is projected to be released in the spring of 2025 after development started in 2023. Why is the 2027 in any case? There are things going on at Nike behind the scenes this year, and their stock has decreased by roughly 20%. Nike contends that it's a lengthy process that necessitates cooperation between Clark and Nike staff, including manufacturing millions of pairs and conducting an advertising campaign. So, why are they acting so distantly? I am aware that many factors went into their hiring and firing decisions, but each one seems so minor and trivial in comparison to the treasure trove that is Caitlin Clark. Even while I know they're attributing some of it to politics, I believe that Caitlin Clark's lack of exposure, endorsements, advertisements, merchandise, and other things she should have earned during her rookie season has more to do with politics. After all, 20 years ago, Nike recognized the chance to produce LeBron Clark footwear and proceeded rapidly. This man was vital, but there's a reason they can't do the same for Caitlin Clark. And it turns out that there hasn't been a Nike commercial featuring Clark as a professional, even though it wasn't precisely imposed on the public. Given that some people think that Caitlin Clark's 4 years as the biggest sports figure in the world have propelled these television statistics. In 2003, both Adidas and Nike sought to sign LeBron James, and the Reebok, a trademark sneaker, was at the top of their lists. But Nike started producing his sneakers before he signed, because they wanted the tale to stay under wraps. So they came up with a code name inside LeBron that was spelled backwards. Zoom Noble. Nike is lying if that's how they defend it. It was obvious that they had chosen a Zoom generation, and when LeBron was still in high school, they started making sneakers for him without his knowledge, with the goal of totally overpowering him. This worked when he made his NBA debut, even though he set records and wore Kobe sneakers. However, even though the plan had long put Caitlin on the longest contract ever, Nike chose to overlook her because they are focused on someone else, which is why she hasn't appeared in a Nike commercial yet. In summary, Benny and Nike investigated the marketing potential of a generation and are using it to push outmoded products. Why is this occurring, and where is the money? Respectable writer with strong connections. According to Ethan Strauss, it is established that Ozza Wilson, a Nike athlete in the WNBA, is involved. Wilson's odd behavior, however, is connected to the company's culture, which places more emphasis on minimizing noise than making the kind of noise that Nike desires. In fact, after Caitlin Clark agreed to a $28 million deal with Nike, the following headline came in a reputable publication suggesting that Caitlin Clark would be receiving her own shoe, which is the reason for the agitation. This is in addition to the fact that, despite Caitlin Clark's decision to wear her own women's basketball advantages from sneakers, contacts with insiders claim that it is certainly linked to Nike athletes and WNBA. What's wrong? White WNBA players were the only ones involved, according to some fans. Many people think that A'ja Wilson, a Las Vegas Aces player who had never played in a WNBA game, ought to have gotten her own sneaker before Clark. She had the highest momentum of any athlete in history after participating in a national championship game that attracted over 20 million viewers. I wonder if I were Caitlin Clark's management again. I have no idea what goes on behind the scenes, but I would seriously be reevaluating the deal I signed given that night. He missed out on this opportunity despite being the world's largest athletic sportswear brand, and we heard nothing from them during the entire season. This was followed by a straight draft in his rookie season, during which he won one Rookie of the Year award and broke a ridiculous number of records, but the exact announcement has not yet been made. If A'ja Wilson and Caitlin Clark both dropped their sneakers today, how can you turn down such an opportunity? At the same time, I do believe that they would sell 100 times more than A'ja Wilson's. I apologize to all of you for breaking the news, but that's the fact. Despite being a 3-time MVP, A'ja's shirt sales were 6 times higher than the league average, even surpassing Kate Martin, who didn't play much in the second half. We saw that the WNBA's top jersey sales this season were not the true numbers. Do you believe that this scared Nike? Yes, it is their goal is not to grow the WNBA. Instead, it is to emphasize diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's absurd what they are doing to Caitlin Clark. It's misguided and lacks long-term perspective. Therefore, Caitlin is not incompetent at basketball. Rather, she is racially and unfairly biased. Why would Nike put justice before profits? Even worse considering that this clearly reveals a racist agenda. Why would Nike back down if they had just gone forward in the most profitable way? It wouldn't have been as troublesome, but they are hiding behind shaky explanations like falling sales and layoffs. They still have a lot of time to fulfill the AA tasks later in his journey. Ethan created a great connection between Tim Duncan and Allen Iverson. Wilson stated that since their WNBA department is still in operation, they should just give Caitlin some time because they are aware of what is going to happen, even though Duncan was clearly the superior player. As has happened in the past, AA will be forgotten, and Nike will have to pay for a contract that isn't producing enough money in the NBA. Nobody raised issues about fairness because Iverson controlled shoe sales. In fact, Nike tested Tim Duncan footwear twice before discontinuing them owing to poor sales. However, who didn't mind if A'ja Wilson resembled Tim Duncan? Even though Caitlin Clark's position might be different, it seems probable that ISA enjoys being featured in Nike advertising. She seems to accept the premise that it is racist, but examine what she said to her teammate Kelsey Plum about seeing Paige Bueckers as another white Plum athlete. Thank you. Because it's profitable, the majority of individuals want to appear in commercials and on billboards. But Ace's response hints that Paige's wealth has contributed to her success. Other teams except Caitlin Clark ITC are competing tonight, according to the Lynx coach in the USA. She is an excellent basketball player, of course, but if AA is the best female athlete for Nike, They don't want to irritate her. The WNBA tweeted about Caitlin Clark's noteworthy appearance in the first preseason game. If Nike had offered Caitlin a pair of sneakers immediately, many people would have been upset when a WNBA and Olympic coach used the hashtag that stands for multiple athletes during the 22-year-old's preseason debut. However, it wasn't all that happened. Caitlin was exempted from the Team USA roster, as was to be expected, with the rationale that she still hadn't earned it. Yes, it's a basketball decision after leading all rookies in assists, field goals, and points. It's not envy. Caitlin was selected for the first team based on her thefts and minutes played, even though only 300,000 people typically attend WNBA games. Because she led all players in assists and three-pointers to accommodate everyone, she also garnered 4 votes for MVP. Even though her games were able to attract over 1 million television viewers, her first-round playoff ticket costs more than the entirety of the previous WNBA playoff games. Despite all the anticipation, the Washington Mystics had to relocate to the Wizards Arena to welcome Caitlin's club, the Indiana Fever, which set a new WNBA attendance record. In the end, she is simply incredible. I want to be clear that Nike hasn't released a statement congratulating Caitlin Clark on winning the championship, despite the fact that they made a huge deal out of signing her. Team USA agreed that it was a mistake to leave her off the list, and now the day is coming when Nike will regret it. Additionally, fans are starting to take notice, which is generating a lot of criticism for Nike. Check out these remarks. Row 82. Although the WNBA has not yet revealed the Rhodey winner, the Adidas official commended CE's accomplishments in a lengthy essay. I'm scratching my head because it seems strange that I haven't seen any Nike advertisements starring Caitlin Clark since she turned pro and won Rookie of the Year. She seems like a tremendous mess, receiving tens of millions of dollars in compensation, but she still doesn't own a single shoe. Given the caustic nature of the WNBA, it makes sense to honor Caitlin Clark's outstanding rookie season while her sponsor, Nike, keeps quiet to prevent offending Asia. This will allow a heterosexual Catholic woman who identifies as Catholic and wants to play professionally to remain out of the spotlight. What do you think, Nike? Do you believe the grounds for the former CEO's resignation are clear-cut, or is your genuine concern to give Caitlin Clark her own shoe due to fear of social media backlash? Please use the comment area below to share your thoughts.